Forgive and find peace. In the dimly lit corner of a forgotten room, shrouded in shadows and echoes of the past, an old man sat in a creaking rocking chair. His name was William Holloway, and he was trying to grasp a long-forgotten memory. His once sharp mind was now clouded with the cobwebs of time, and that elusive memory remained just out of reach. William had spent a lifetime collecting memories, both bitter and sweet, yet there was one that haunted him more than any other. It was a memory of a time when he was young and in love, a time of innocence before the world had carved its scars into his soul. His eyes, faded and rheumy with age, stared into the distance as if peering into another dimension, one where the past and present intertwined. The room around him was a portrait of his life, adorned with antique furniture and dusty photographs, each bearing the weight of years gone by. A flickering candle provided the only source of light, casting eerie shadows on the cracked mahogany walls. The old man's wrinkled hands trembled as he tried to summon the fragments of the past. In the memory, he stood beneath a sprawling oak tree, its leaves rustling in the breeze like whispers from a forgotten time. He saw her face, radiant and full of life, her laughter filling the air. Her name was Eliza, and she was the love of his youth, the keeper of his heart. William knew that somewhere within this memory he held the key to a truth that had eluded him for decades. His brow furrowed with effort, beads of sweat forming on his wrinkled forehead. He rocked back and forth, the chair's rhythm lulling him deeper into the recesses of his mind. As the candle's flame flickered and danced, William's mind traversed the labyrinth of his past. He could feel the warmth of Eliza's hand in his, their fingers entwined as they walked together. Their love had been a fire that consumed them, yet in the end it had flickered out, leaving only embers and ashes. But this memory held something more, something he had never fully comprehended. There was a shadow that lurked at the periphery of his consciousness, a dark figure that cast a pall over that idyllic day beneath the oak tree. As the memory crystallized, he saw it clearly. A stranger had approached them, his features obscured by a tattered hat and ragged clothing. He had whispered something to Eliza, something that had made her step back in fear. William remembered the fear that had clutched his heart, the rage that had surged through him. He had fought the stranger, fists flying, and then darkness. The memory ended there, leaving William with a void he could not fill. The memory had haunted him for years, the unspoken words of that stranger echoing in his mind like an unresolved melody. The room seemed to close in on him, the shadows growing darker, and the candle flickered ominously. As he strained to recollect, a sense of impending doom gripped him, a feeling that he was on the precipice of a revelation that could shatter his world. Then, as if summoned by the very memory he sought, a voice broke the silence. It was a voice from the past, a whisper that seemed to come from the ether. "William," it murmured, "do you remember?" Startled, William looked around the room, but there was no one there. The voice was real, yet it was not. It was the voice of Eliza, but not the Eliza he had known. It was a voice that carried the weight of secrets and sorrows. "Remember, William," the voice urged. He closed his eyes, surrendering to the voice. In that moment, the past and present merged, and he saw the stranger's face, the same face that had haunted his dreams for years. But there was something he had never noticed before. The man's eyes held a deep sadness, a pain that mirrored his own. The candle's flame flared for an instant, revealing a truth that had been hidden in the shadows. The stranger was not a villain, but a broken soul seeking redemption. He had whispered words to Eliza, words that had saved her from an unspeakable fate. Tears welled in William's eyes as he realized the depth of his misunderstanding. The darkness in his heart had overshadowed the truth, and he had never given the stranger a chance to explain. Eliza had recognized the pain in the man's eyes and had chosen to save him, even at the cost of her own love. In that moment of clarity, the room seemed to brighten, the shadows dissipating, and the chair ceased its creaking. The old man's heart ached with a mix of remorse and gratitude. The voice of Eliza, now a soothing whisper, returned one last time. "Forgive, William, and be at peace." With a heavy heart, William forgave the stranger and himself. The memory, once a tormenting enigma, had become a lesson in the complexities of love and the enduring power of forgiveness. As he let go of the past, the candle burned brightly, dispelling the last remnants of darkness in the room. The rocking chair stilled, and William Holloway, with newfound clarity, began to cherish the memories he could still hold, for he knew that forgiveness and understanding were the keys to unlocking the true essence of life's bittersweet tapestry. The end.